Wandcast. It's the chapter-by-chapter reread of the Harry Potter series with a reconciled craft brew on the side. I'm Aaron, and I'm here with my two favorite Hufflepuffs, Jade and Nate. Hello.
Hello.
On this episode, we are slapping our way through Chapter 15 of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, the Quidditch Final.
A slap.
Yeah, we're going to slap it to base through Chapter 15.
A slap.
What's a reconciled?
Reconciled? I said reconciled.
I know. That's why I was. What is that?
That's when you concile and then you've got to do it again.
Yeah, but how do you do that with
wrong the first
How do you
time.
do that with the craft beer?
How do you do it with the craft beer?
Like, how does that? What makes a craft beer reconciled?
If No Rules was bottled back into a bottle, would your feelings of No Rules go back to what they were prior to when they went into a can? Would you say you would have reconciled with No Rules if they come back into a bottle?
You're grasping, but okay.
Didn't say it was a good argument. Just said it's there. I think it's about time we get into the chapter summary. And we find out what this chapter is about before we dive a little deeper into some of the things we want to talk about. This one's going to go a little bit quicker than the last one because we realize that all three of us don't want to listen to me talk for 100 straight seconds. In this chapter, Ron and Hermione make up over Buckbeak's loss. Draco fucks around and finds out. And Hermione sleeps her way through charms and takes out her frustrations on Professor Trelawney's entire fucking life.
Yeah.
As Easter arrives, everyone focuses on the important things, like the Quidditch match between Gryffindor and Slytherin. Harry tries to focus on the match, but that goddamn Grim will just not leave him alone. The final match kicks off, and for the first time in 7 years, Gryffindor wins the Quidditch Cup. They did it.
Oliver Wood can die happy.
Oliver Wood leaves Hogwarts a Quidditch champion. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
The book can be done now.
He didn't graduate, never got a job, and just didn't really do anything else for the rest of his life.
Didn't matter.
But you know what?
He was fine.
He had that championship that one time.
He was happy.
He was good.
Yeah. I want to ask you guys a question here. Ron and Hermione have made up, and Ron offers to help with the appeal. And, that causes Hermione to drop all pretense. She gives Ron a big ol' hug. She's crying, and she apologizes, says she is very sad that Scabbers is no longer alive. And she was very upset when, Ron almost died because Sirius Black broke in with a knife. And, Ron decides to go, hey, you know what? It's fine. Scabbers was actually pretty useless. Maybe I'll get an owl now. So with what we seem to have in front of us being the resolution of Crookshanks versus Scabbers and Ron and Hermione as pet owners, how are we feeling about this?
Okay, here's the thing. When there's a traumatic loss or, a big event in your circle, it brings people together. You might be fighting, but you're like, bigger things at hand. Okay. So this happens in real life a lot. You're like, okay, we're mending fences. But there's a conversation that needs to be had at some point. Like, they brush it over really quick, and he was very quick to be like, it's fine, my old rat. And this is what should have happened a while ago, whatever. But there's never a discussion about, hey, honestly, the rat being gone isn't the thing that's the big issue here. It's your attitude about how everything went down.
Yeah, the way you reacted to me having a problem. Like, I get you're not happy about the information that I was giving you, but, I'm your friend. I'm kind of in crisis right now, and it's as a direct result as to something you have control of, and you ignored that.
Yeah.
As a person, I was upset at you. Now, for the purposes of what we're doing right now, long term, am I going to let this totally ruin the friendship? No, I don't want that to happen. So we can just move past it for now. But like you're saying, there is going to be a talk.
Yeah,
though.
because can I trust you as a friend?
Yeah,
to-
it doesn't have to
to-
necessarily be a chew out session either. It's just we need to have a conversation.
I need to know that you're acknowledging that wasn't cool and that you're not going
Yes.
to treat me that way in the future. Because otherwise, I can't trust you to be somebody I could be open with. And on top of that, I see that you have a point. I just want to point out this whole thing that we're all upset about is over one of our other friends' pets being murdered now. You're so upset about his pet because this is horrible for someone to lose a pet.
The point that Hermione should be apologizing for is not that Scabbers died. It's that she was a bad friend who was a pet owner. There was no respect to your friend as another pet owner. Now, that was both ways. Ron was not doing anything to help Hermione, and Hermione was doing absolutely nothing to help Ron as pet owners.
And no remorse or, empathy.
I'm
for
not
the
apologizing
situation.
for my actions. I'm apologizing your rat's dead. And it's like, no. The correct apology is to apologize for your actions. Like, I'm sorry that Scabber, because it's Ron, I'm really, really sorry about Scabbers. Like, that's it. And it's like, no, it should be, Ron, I'm sorry how I acted.
Yeah.
But they are 13 or 14. That's, us as 30-something-year-olds, we're slightly more emotionally mature.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
But I feel like I'm remembering from when I first read this, when I was a similar age, that it was kind of like, hey, you took my toy. I'm not mad that you took my toy. I'm mad that you went into my room. Like, you invaded my privacy, but you're apologizing for apologize for invading my room.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it sucks you took the toy, but really, you went into my stuff and snooped around.
Hey, Hermione, you see how you were an asshole to Lavender? You see how you were an asshole to me because life happens?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah, life happens. You don't have to be a dick about it.
Yeah,
right.
It's what Hagrid said. People can be stupid about their pets.
Yeah.
That means the person is being stupid. So don't apologize for the pet. Apologize for being stupid about your pet.
Yes. And speaking of, I want to lead this back to Buckbeak and his trial. First of all, little minor note. Hagrid mentions that Beaky loved London, which I think is interesting because...
Yeah.
Do you go out flying?
Right. What did he see in London that he liked?
They do a
was
double-decker bus tour?
Yeah. How was he even allowed, we know Hagrid has walked around, but this is a fucking hippogriff. What the fuck?
So right now, Buckbeak is in trouble for hurting a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's in London.
He went to London for a trial. Yeah.
For
a trial.
For what?
A trial for
Yeah.
hurting
Trial.
a kid.
So I just want to pose this question. In the next episode, I believe I am going to drive the point of this question.
Teaser.
Right now, Buckbeak has been summoned by a court to appear for hurting a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So he is now out in arguably the largest city
Where there's lots of kids.
in that area.
Potentially.
Okay, just for context, for here, if you're a dangerous criminal wanted for just say murder or even assault, you're going to be in jail until that trial date happens. That didn't happen to Buckbeak. So what that tells me is nobody really believes Buckbeak is fucking dangerous.
Or he should have a muzzle on or something.
Or if he's doing, but that's what I'm
Was
saying.
he
Like, they're
magically
having him,
disguised?
Hagrid's just taking him. Hagrid ain't doing that shit. They know that. You and I know that. Everybody knows that. That's all I'm saying is that if he's really dangerous and he's going to trial for being dangerous, we're going to have to fucking put this thing down.
In a cage?
They would not just invite him to London. No, lock his ass up in a dungeon. Whoever's representing this apparently super dangerous creature needs to come and you know what I mean?
Or transport
carry
him
out
in
the
a cage,
execution, do the
right?
thing, and then we'll double check. Yeah, no, nobody fucking thinks Buckbeak is dangerous.
Yeah, I think it's similar to the point that, you kind of want to bring up is comparing this to a dog bite.
Yeah.
You can't have your dog bite someone and then just go ahead and take them around on a basic leash into a park.
Yeah.
You got to
what I'm
muzzle your
saying is
dog. You're going to have to...
You don't bring him to court.
That's
You
what I was
leave
gonna-
your dog at home.
dog doesn't
and
come to the
because
trial.
it's dangerous. Then they say, hey, you got to put it down. And then you got to take that to a person that can put an animal down. And then you got to show proof that it happened. But it doesn't. You don't bring it in because if it's actually a dangerous animal, you don't bring it into court.
Well, Buckbeak has a right to face his accuser.
I
Plus-
mean, I get that. As it, but I just it's all wrong. If they really thought he was dangerous,
Yeah,
they
it doesn't
wouldn't
make
do-
any
it's-
sense.
They're doing Buckbeak.
It doesn't make any
dirty.
sense
And
to
I mean,
bring
yeah,
Buckbeak.
I don't
to
the
like
London.
it.
magical. I mean, there's in their history, there's precedent for them having animals at trial, and
Yeah.
which is just it's a wild thing. You would why would you have the animal at trial? It can't defend itself.
No.
It leads to biases for and against the animal because if it's being aggressive in its cage wherever you have it, you're going to think it's aggressive. If it's being docile, you're going to think it's a docile, sweet little thing. Why would we murder it? It's not a good plan. Also, what were you going to say?
I think it's a great plan on Hagrid's part because if you bring a fucking hippogriff into crowded ass London and not a single bad thing happens,
Yeah.
maybe that hippogriff ain't a bad hippogriff.
Little preview. That's my thing for
That's
the
what I
next
was gonna
chapter.
say. Is the hippogriff could 100% prove, like the judges at the trial, people could
Yeah.
come up and be like, "Look, if you follow what everyone agrees is proper procedure for a hippogriff, not a problem."
Yeah.
So maybe that should have been proof that the hippogriff is innocent because it went to London with no problems.
But listen, this is where my point comes through.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, lay it down.
If a dog bites somebody, if an animal in a zoo hurts somebody, if a child gets in a gorilla habitat, the gorilla gets put down. The
Right.
dog gets put down.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the animal's fault.
If you keep
Yeah.
the dog,
Yeah, remember Harambe.
if you keep the dog, if you keep the dog after the dog bites somebody, guess what? You can't have insurance. No insurance carrier is going to hold you.
Mm-hmm.
You the dog is a giant ass fucking liability, and
Yeah.
anything that even if it's the sweetest old dog who just got surprised because somebody was being an asshole to it.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yeah.
it bites somebody, you are fucked, and the dog either has to get put down or you are 100% like just hanging out there for every bad thing to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, as sad as this is, honestly, Buckbeak, he shouldn't have ever been put in the situation he was with the children.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I think it's the ministry officials. I think we've covered that in the book at this point. Is like the ministry officials even say shouldn't have done a hippogriff lesson 1. Hippogriff is not only not lesson 1, but not for third years.
we talked
That's
about
a
this
sixth
though,
year Magical Creatures topic.
in Defense Against the Dark Arts.
Mhm.
Right? I mean, they started with a boggart, which we've kind of gone back and forth on how dangerous boggarts are, but it's supposed to be an early lesson, right? Easy fix. So yeah, you start with the small stuff, work your way up. Snape, he jumped ahead. He was like, "We're doing werewolves." No, fuck you. We're not to that yet. So hippogriff, awesome introduction. Probably not the best starter animal though.
I'm
right?
just saying, in general, should those animals be being kept domesticated in that situation in the first place? Probably not, because you're opening up to these type of situations, which will lead to, unfortunately, people getting hurt potentially and pets getting put down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think one of the things that I missed before is that Hagrid is the caretaker. So he's like kind of in charge of all the animals and the grounds, but now he's also a teacher. So his caretaker abilities are gonna be stretched thin
Yeah.
because he's busy doing the teaching thing now too.
Yeah.
So
Well, that and Magical Creatures is obviously a great choice for Hagrid
Perfect.
to be a professor because Hagrid's probably more in tune with creatures than people. That's kind of part of it is like he doesn't ever think the hippogriff is that big of a deal because he is friends with all of them because it's not hard to be friends with hippogriff when you're Hagrid.
yeah,
Right.
He is fine with deal because the sharp claws don't affect him. It's a whole lot of thing. Real quick, because I know we want to get to more. Apparently, yeah, Hagrid just has to defend Buckbeak by himself, which, like, there's no defense attorney. There's no nothing. Like, it was just Hagrid because he says, I got tongue-tied and I forgot stuff. And then guilty. It's like,
Yeah.
there's no one was there, either court ministry appointed
Or school.
or from your school, from your friend group. No one was like,
Not
I'll
even your
come with
friend
you.
group. HR. There's not.
Yeah, where's
You're
tribunal?
An employee of
Where's tribunal?
You're an employee of an institution, and they allowed you to do what you were doing. They approved all your lesson fucking plans, and nobody was there to have your back. Think Hogwarts has a lawsuit themselves coming. I'm just saying.
I was
This is
just
the
gonna
80s.
say,
This is the start of that.
if Ron fucking Weasley is a saving grace for your team, a legal team,
Hey,
like
hey.
the idea. I'm happy.
careful.
No, wait, hold on. Happy that he stepped up. We know Ron is a fucking ride or die friend. What I'm saying is Ron is a loyal fucking friend. What I'm also saying is Ron is not a fucking lawyer. I get Hermione being on the team, and I get Ron wanting to be on the team because he wants to help Hermione and he wants to help Hagrid. But nobody was just like, fuck, we need legal precedence on all of these matters. Let's call Ron fucking Weasley. That never happened.
Ron,
okay?
love the enthusiasm,
Yeah.
pal. We absolutely will use your help. You know how you
That's
can
all
help
I mean.
us?
You're doomed if
Go,
you're like,
go to
you
the
know?
kitchen and get snacks while we do the actual
Hey,
work here.
The kid who never cracked a book, though, was cracking books. I
He
just
was
gotta
cracking
say.
books.
That's what I'm saying. I applaud the effort. They were leaning on Hermione, right? Hermione can get some shit done. I think we all can agree on that. That's all. I was just like, you don't have an ace in the hole when Ron is just like, I'll help, man. Like, okay, because I could help somebody, but I'm not going to be a heavy lifter either.
Well, here's what I love is that they're all studying for exams, and Ron's like, okay, I got Hagrid's trial shit. Don't worry about I wasn't going to study for this shit
I wasn't going to be
anyways."
doing exams anyway.
Hey, Hermione's
Fuck
my
yeah.
Hermione's my friend again, so I can just use her study notes. So
Yeah.
I'll use my study time
I'm
Yeah.
for
fucking
the trial.
coasting now.
Yeah.
Hermione's doing all the work,
Also,
so I don't need to
Hermione
worry about it.
owes me. So guess who's not going to give me shit
Mm-hmm.
about giving me study notes?
Yeah.
Oh, especially when I'm saying, "Hey, let me use your study notes so I can do the trial thing."
Yeah, that you don't
She's
have
gonna be
time
like,
for
"Oh yeah,
now."
here you go."
Yeah.
I think we should celebrate this reconciled friendship with a reconciled craft brew of our own. I think we're going to take a quick little break and celebrate 3 best friends doing best friend things together.
Aw.
And then, and then we'll be back right after this. And we're back. And actually, over break, we had a quick discussion and we realized that, a lot of our knowledge about animal incidents or court cases is pretty U.S. based.
It's kind of the same thing like the witch trials.
Yeah.
It's just, it was different
and,
here.
We know of some people who don't live in the U.S., and we would love to hear from you. If there's like some high profile cases or just stuff that like you remember maybe as a kid happening in your community, what's going on over there?
Because
Because we don't
realistically,
learn about that kind of stuff here.
Let us know. podcastatt@gmail.com.
yeah, and realistically here, I feel like as much as it sucks for all of the listeners here and me and too, because I love Bucky. I love animals. I don't think they should be put down for stupid stuff, but he would probably have been put down for this incident.
Oh,
no
yeah.
matter what.
This shit
Like,
happened in the States. Bucky is not leaving that trial.
Yeah, as much as Harry's like, he's not dangerous, we all know it.
It's pretty commonplace that that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Accidental bites are still bites.
Yeah.
So,
He proved
yeah.
himself to be dangerous. So.
But yeah, so let's look forward to your inputs, listeners, and we thank you ahead of time. I want to thank Hermione because finally, I think I am willing to say this right now without having done proper research. Finally, Malfoy actually gets something that's coming to him.
Fuck yeah.
Because he talks shit and he gets hit.
I am so glad that this fucking happened because I've been doing the editing for the episodes, and I believe our episode on chapter 9 or 10 where I say sometimes, even though it's technically socially unacceptable to do this, it is perfectly fine to punch somebody in the face. And then Hermione, I had forgotten about this. So I'm just like, fuck yes. Hermione gets it. At a certain level, she's just like, that's it. I've had enough. You snap and you punch the person. It's how I got rid of my bully. So I know it's not a good thing, right? Violence is not a good thing. But also, yeah, sometimes it's pretty fucking cool.
Well, and we've seen in these books in particular at this school, traditionally, giving violence is not necessarily punished that badly.
Especially if it's not magical violence.
Yeah.
I was going to say, they do have wizard duels. That is a thing that happens, we know of.
They got trained on it last year.
Exactly.
And the worst you get is detention.
Yeah.
You don't get suspended. You don't get fucking kicked out of school.
And like we've established, I can handle detention.
And if the teachers are showing favoritism and not taking care of shit, when you're like, hey, teacher, do you see this other teacher being violently bullied by a student and nobody's taking care of it? Eventually, you gotta punch the kid in the mouth to teach him a lesson because nobody else is gonna, like, no adult's gonna step up and teach the kid a lesson. And obviously, nothing's gonna fucking happen to you.
Yeah. So when I finally stood up to my bully, I was walking into school, and every day he would sit by the office and he would just do this dumb voice like, hello, neighbor. And it just fucking every single day. Not only this, he lived just on the block across from mine. So I saw this kid at my bus stop, the whole bus ride to school. And then I'd meet my friends outside of school and we walk in and then he would do this again. So every day at 3 points in my morning, he would do this thing. This happened for a year. And eventually I snapped and I took the violent route and I like kind of, okay. So there's this weird, the thick glass that goes in bathrooms where you can't see through it, but like you can see shapes and colors kind of, the big blocks. Kind of. So I pushed him up against that and like his head hit that a little bit. And I kind of regret that as an adult a tiny bit. But fuck that kid. Everybody's got a limit. And it's like he was just fucking with me. Malfoy is not only just fucking with the people, but also like taking low shots. So fuck that guy.
He was mocking Hagrid.
Yeah. Hermione, in my view, has every single right to punch him in the face. As Hermione's parent, no, honey, you are not in trouble. As a teacher, absolutely not. Are you going to be in trouble for this? He deserved it. You are good.
That's where McGonagall goes, hey, I got your detention. Hey, for detention, just do some homework.
Look at me
you just
and
stay
say
in my
I'm
office.
sorry one time.
Yeah.
Okay, punishment accepted.
Hey,
yeah.
I'm going to help. What's going to happen? Come to detention, bring your homework. Now I'm going to sit here and help you with your homework. That's your detention. And the other thing that happens here, I think, is pretty important. And both of you guys kind of mentioned this as we were discussing over break. Feels like this is kind of a key moment for Ron. Because Ron kind of starts paying a little bit more attention to Hermione after this.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, this whole book, Ron has been, like, pointedly looking at what Hermione is doing, and even when he is like expressly saying to Harry, look, this is weird, what the fuck is happening with Hermione? Harry's like, oh, this is fucking, yeah, okay, that's weird. But Ron,
very rarely is Harry the one to bring it up. It's always Ron.
And
Ron's not getting any validation on these ideas he's having.
No, but he's very much on just like, what the fuck? So it's interesting to me. And then this happens, and he's like, Hermione, what the fuck got into you?
He's so critical of her this entire book.
Oh, yeah.
And then she hits Malfoy. And yeah, it's like his eyes light up. And he's just like, I get you, because Ron's ride or die. This is Ron's style. Hermione has left Hermione's style, and she's doing things Ron's way.
Yeah.
And Ron is got to notice this.
Ride or die, Hermione poked her head out here. And she said, all right, I'm done. And she does. She turns to Harry and is like, you better fucking beat his ass in the final.
Fuck yeah.
Well, here's the other thing is that you're right. She's ditching Hermione's style. In your brain, if Hermione's pissed at somebody, is she going to be using her fist? No, she's going to be using her.
Yeah. She's going to have a
her
random
wand.
jinx, curse,
Yeah.
whatever that she knows is perfectly applicable and not going to get her in trouble.
Yeah.
No. Pure emotion, baby.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she's probably not going to say, Harry, I hope you fucking beat him at the Quidditch match, because logically, intellectually, does that fucking matter if he loses at Quidditch? No, it's just a game.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
I think that's why you're right. Ron is a very emotional driven person, and he
Yeah.
Oh,
sees
yeah.
her
Yeah.
doing these trigger, like emotional triggered things that she would not normally do, and he's like, hey,
I like that.
What's going
so much. Yeah.
yeah.
You bring up a good point, Jade. Hermione is off. And we get an immediate follow-up to that because she doesn't show up in Charms. She was walking with Harry and Ron and then disappears.
Wild.
Disappears in a magical school. And then we get the hindsight of she misses out on cheering charms. The one person who potentially most needs a cheering charm in the school right now.
For a person like Hermione, she likes to practice practical magic.
Oh, yeah.
Charms that just do practical things for you in your day is something you would think she would be there to master.
And I want so much more information because I would be using a cheering charm on myself, or I would be making my friend cast it on me so much.
That is a good point, because when I feel like every other time I've read this, for whatever reason, I've skipped over the idea of cheering charms, and in my brain, it was somehow a cheering, like, woo, yeah, let's go. Type
Not just be
charm.
happy.
Not just be happy.
Interesting. That is true.
It makes so much more sense, though, for it to be a mood lifter.
I'm in a good
But
mood
the
now.
idea of there being a mood lifter like this, like you said, it lasts for a long time. It makes them not care that their friend is missing, right?
Apparently.
And
Because they kind of just dismiss it. She's like, she must be in the bathroom.
Yeah.
They don't go looking for her.
There's been a theme
we're
of
not
depression in this book, though, too.
but we're not taking antidepressants because we're
Bingo.
wizards. We're not taking
We talked about this. There's got to be some sort of a
Stimulants,
way that they
drugs
deal
and
with
stuff,
that. And
right?
I think this is it.
There's no therapist at this boarding school. Apparently, no one has any mental problems ever at this boarding school.
But so this works as a maybe antidepressant, but on the other hand, it also seems to numb their senses to the world. So it works more like a drug almost
100%.
than I mean, which antidepressants are drugs, right? At their core.
We could talk about that.
And they
that
do numb
and
you in a way.
We could talk about that, and we could talk about like the opioid crisis. Like if you had something, a magic spell that made you numb and made you feel better. I mean, the conversation we're having right now, wouldn't you use it? Wouldn't you use it 100 times a day?
Yeah.
I would use it before every potions lesson.
Before every moment. Before every time that you feel like anxiety is going to kick off, you would do that all the time. You could never be free of magic. Now, maybe this isn't a problem, but maybe it super would be.
Why? I mean,
don't know the limits on that.
You're teaching 13-year-olds euphoria.
Yeah, I mean, you're at a school for teenagers, or you have a medical wing. Does this medical professional also not deal with like teenagers having mental trauma, which happens every single day in a teenager's life?
Especially
like,
at a fucking school
take
like this,
a charm,
apparently, when
chill
you have
the fuck out,
Dementors
go
outside.
back to class. You know what I mean? Like, it could very well be a thing.
They're Dementors. Why do we not know this already? Also, fucking on a cheering charm?
That's gotta be
awesome. So you Polyjuice potioned it up, cast cheering charms on yourself.
Polyjuice.
Little Engorgio. You can literally fulfill any sexual fantasy.
Put so much thought into this.
Wow. That
hey.
went to a totally different place than where I was going, guys.
Did you not just say imagine sex on cheering charms?
I did, but you turned yourself. You were like, "Oh yeah, absolutely, disguise yourself as a different person and make your dick big."
Dude, wizards.
Also, while doing that,
wizards are kinky as fuck.
I'm just
you're the one that said this.
I'm a wizard. I have a wand.
If we're in magical world, I know magic is real for certain in Gorgio. Not fucking needed. I've got everything I need now.
Not touching that one.
Okay.
I think that maybe we should focus more on the fact that Hermione is not even there through lunch, okay? So, like you guys were saying, like addictiveness or whatever, either Harry and Ron are bad friends, which we've also had examples of that, because they go through a whole class and lunch before they go look for Hermione, and they don't go look for her. They just go back to the common room where she's sleeping.
No,
they don't.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
but
go for it.
It explicitly says that it's because of the cheering charm that their like wonder turned to worry.
The cheering charm left them with a feeling of great contentment.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're not worried about anything.
So it was the fucking magic spell that makes them just like, okay,
not
whatever.
worry about it. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, their base level of like Harry not being observant and Ron, maybe, like it's exponentially increased because of this cheering charm. It's not A or B. It's both.
Yeah. They took the bar down and put it on the floor.
Yeah, because
that's where it is.
It also mentions that by the time they finished their apple pie, the after effects of the cheering charms wore off, and then they started to get slightly worried, to your point, Jade.
Amazing to me because all it would have taken for me is probably just the apple pie.
That's my cheering charm.
I forgot
Give me some apple
whatever
pie.
the hell else was going on. We've got pie, guys.
I just see. I feel like Ron during that was probably like, "Hey, man, Hermione, right? She's still gone." And Harry's like, "Oh yeah." Anyways,
I very
then,
much
like, half an hour later, Ron would be like, "So yeah, Hermione though, right? She's not here." And Harry'd be like, "Oh yeah." Anyways,
so what I am now taking from this, and I am I don't care if anyone shows me proof otherwise. Hufflepuffs are casting cheering charms constantly.
All the fucking time. Yeah.
If you get
100%.
stoned from a cheering charm, dude, Hufflepuff common room, cheering charms left and right. Anyway, they do find Hermione back, and they head to divination, and oh boy, Hermione fucking goes off.
She can't keep
Trelawney.
her fucking mouth shut to save her life.
I am not going to sit here and say that only one party is responsible or at fault or whatever, because look, everything's a give and a take, but you cannot openly talk shit to your professor and not expect anything bad to happen.
Now, look, we've talked about the kids like open rebellion against Snape.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And Snape is the worst case scenario that we're dealing with at this school. Hermione has taken this concept and then fucking weaponized it against Trelawney to where she is just like, everything you're doing and you stand for is bullshit. I stand against you. I am not going to make any part of your day easy. We talked about Ron admiring Hermione for finally stepping out of line and punching Malfoy in the mouth. This is not the same thing. This is that same Hermione is finally acting impulsively, and it's not a good thing.
There's a couple layers here. I think on one layer, Hermione's overworked, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's doing all these different classes.
Somehow.
Classes that she 100% believes are useful pursuits of her time.
Practical. Yep.
This, not so much. So why am I wasting my precious time that could be used in other... So I think that while she knows not to fucking talk, that shit will happen if she talks to the professor.
Yeah.
She's honestly doing it on purpose because I don't need to be wasting my time here. There is another point, though, that I think will come up later, because now that I'm thinking about it, I just want to say that Trelawney is all about divination and seeing different timelines and things, and that maybe Hermione has her own reasons for having an issue with somebody who thinks that they know what's going to happen in the future.
I could see that.
That's what I'm
Maybe
saying.
on some level,
Yeah.
she's just like, I don't need this class to graduate. I'm doing so much extra credit.
I don't need this fluff class.
It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
So I can just tell you, hey, I think you're full of shit. This class is dumb. Fail me. I'll go hang out in the library and study for a class that fucking matters.
Yeah. 100%.
But on a personal level, as a teacher at a school, ow.
Yeah.
And I want to clarify, give and take, as a professor, teacher, whatever.
Yeah, I take it back. She's a full ass professor.
Well, I mean, the U.S. equivalent is 13-year-olds. Professors in the U.S., whatever.
Okay.
But
okay.
you as a teacher probably shouldn't be calling your students or saying that they have a mundane mind.
Oh,
or
yeah. No,
whatever the
definitely
exact
not.
phrase that she does here.
From
Don't do that.
the moment Hermione came into this class,
Oh, yeah.
Hermione had an attitude, but also Trelawney full on had an attitude back.
Oh, yeah. We
Okay.
talked about
Absolutely.
that. They
That's
full
what
on
I
had a
mean.
cat fight first day.
Yeah.
Fuck you. We're not going to like each other.
Yeah. So, I mean, Trelawney should have been willing to give more, especially when this is like, obviously, you're going to have some kids who aren't seers. How are you going to deal with that? But Hermione was a little bit, this is fucking bullshit from the first day. But I honestly feel like, again, pin that thought because I feel like we're going to talk about it. I feel like now I'm going to bring that up later.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be more to this. I mean, there's more chapters. But here's the other thing. Maybe Hermione wouldn't have such a problem with Trelawney if Harry had admitted to Ron and Hermione, well, he does to Ron a little bit, that he is seeing the Grim
Oh, yeah.
after
Yeah.
she predicts this shit.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, hey, Hermione, no, Trelawney might be a resource, and now this class is practical.
Yeah, this
Because
is
I
super
am
useful to
seeing
me
this.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way,
Hermione's a little too
Hermione,
close-minded.
she was fucking right.
Yeah, yeah. Look, this isn't going to be the world's best teaser because it's only going to last for about 60 seconds. But I
One.
found a plot hole, and we're going to talk about it after we take a break because I am going to lay down the fucking rules here. I don't know why I said rules.
Oh,
That's not
shit.
the right word, but yeah, there's a plot hole after the break, but we have to go to break. So we're going to take a little break, and we'll be back right after this. And we're back. And I found a plot hole. I have been taking notes. I have been trying to keep track of all of Trelawney's predictions so we can do a thing at the end, probably of the series. Because, spoiler alert, Trelawney's in some of the other books too. Sorry for spoiling that potentially for some of you. But there's a plot hole here, and I didn't see many other people mention it online. Trelawney is supposedly proven right because she predicts that around Easter, someone will leave the class. Lavender Brown brings it back up right after Hermione leaves this class. Easter in 1994, which is the current year for Harry Potter, was on April 3rd.
Okay.
The Easter holidays are coming up. That gets brought up in this chapter shortly. So spoiler alert for 10 minutes from now. Easter holidays are coming up. So Easter hasn't happened yet. I feel like this should not be a point for Trelawney. You can't just say around Easter and then have it be like, well, within 30 days plus or minus.
Yeah.
No, this was not around. This is not close enough.
I mean, is it kind of in the way that Christmas time is actually anywhere after
October?
Thanksgiving to January 1st kind of a thing? I'll even
That's
give
what
you
I'm
a
saying.
week
I
past
think-
January 1st.
I think that's why people are giving the pass is because it's like a month. Okay.
As long as the store has the Easter decorations up,
Yeah.
which is famously 2 months ahead of when
Yeah,
anybody
yeah.
really needs the shit.
Yeah, there's Christmas stuff in the stores before Halloween
Yeah,
now, it
that's
feels
Trelawney's
like, so.
version of what's around
Yeah.
that time.
I don't think this is close enough in my book. This is
No, I'm with
this
you.
is so far away, but it's not. She wasn't completely wrong. She did. The prediction was around Easter, one of our number will leave us forever.
Yeah.
Now, if you
do-
loosely translate that,
exactly,
sure.
you got to zoom out.
Because Buckbeak's hearing was on April 20th, so this happened after April 20th. This class, I know.
But I thought you said Easter holidays were coming up still at this point.
That's what I'm saying. Easter was on April 3rd, but the Easter holidays are coming up. Or sorry, yeah, that's the plot
means
hole.
We're in March.
We're past Easter because Easter was on April 20th. Or sorry, Buckbeak's hearing was on April 20th. We're past April 20th in the timeline.
Yeah, we're doing exams and stuff, right?
But in 1994, Easter was April 3rd. So the Easter holidays should have already happened.
Is that
Oh,
is that the same?
I get what
is
you're
it the
saying.
same
That's
in
the
UK
plot hole.
and US?
I would think so. I don't think they... Wait, fuck. Do they have a different Easter? UK listeners, do you guys have a different Easter?
Yeah, let us know. podcastatt@gmail.com.
It's got to be the same Easter. Jesus didn't rise on different days.
Dude,
he
I
rose
don't
on
know.
Easter.
Oh my God.
That's
okay.
okay.
I can't.
Maybe this is
Oh,
for a
yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, yes, that's the plot hole. The plot hole is that this happened already, even though Easter holidays are... That's what it was. That's what it was. And I'm not seeing anyone else mention
Fucking
it.
backwards.
I am
Yeah.
mentioning it. No one else has mentioned it.
Oh, good for you.
I'm
Exclusive podcast ATT
Yeah.
right here.
I'm a smarty boy. Anyway,
Okay.
so now that Easter already happened back on April 3rd, we're going to go into the Easter holidays as we prep for the Quidditch final.
Okay.
It gets mentioned here that the burden of winning is on Harry, and as a sports guy, this is not true at all, because Harry has to wait to catch the snitch until they're up 50 points.
Yeah, he's got
Which
a very
means-
specific window in which he has to act.
The burden of winning is also on the Chasers, because they have to score 50 more points than the Slytherin Chasers do.
Yeah.
And the burden of winning is also on the keeper, Oliver Wood, because he needs to stop Slytherin from scoring.
For the first time ever, we kind of see why the other people even playing the game is important. Like, we did talk about how the House Cup matters and, you know, how it all kind of ties in, but it's like, it is just a piece of it. Since we have this overarching thing, yeah, you can win the game by catching the snitch and doing the thing, but ultimately we need more points than that.
Yes.
So our other people who have been trying to score their asses off this whole time that apparently don't fucking matter now are kind of like, they set the pace of the game, and ultimately they're going to determine whether or not we have a good end of year bash as opposed to just this game.
Do you know what the Chasers do? They set the fucking tone.
Yeah, exactly.
Chasers set the tone.
Well, I mean, also, you got to think, yeah, Harry is supposed to be paying attention to the snitch, but also the beaters should be making sure that they're paying attention to
Absolutely.
not just the other chasers and your chasers, but the other snitch getter, so that they can prevent him, because he's going to be trying to get the snitch from the get.
Yeah, if Draco catches the snitch within 5 minutes of this game starting, Slytherin wins the Quidditch Cup.
Oh, yeah, it's fucking over.
Quidditch?
They deny their opportunity to get any more points.
So you should just have a beater on fucking Malfoy.
I have done a full 360 on Quidditch.
Hermione already did.
Wow.
I have done a full 360 on, you guys ready for it? Quidditch Through the Ages. I remember thinking Quidditch was the best when I read these books the first time. And as I got older, I remember thinking Quidditch might be the dumbest fucking sport I've ever heard of in my life.
Because of the superfluous scoring.
And I am back to Quidditch is the greatest goddamn sport that's ever been thought of. At least in Hogwarts season. Literally just based on points scored. You can technically lose every game and still win the Quidditch Cup because it is strictly about points scored.
Yeah.
Or at least that's the majority of whatever decides the Quidditch Cup. Because the whole point of this whole thing is that they have to score more than 50 points to win the Quidditch Cup.
We should do a deep dive on that.
Oh, it's planned. It's planned,
hell yeah.
my guy.
Nice.
I fucking
Yeah, because I have
love
other questions.
Quidditch. Speaking of the things I love about Quidditch, we hear about scuffles in the hallway between Gryffindors and Slytherins.
Hell yeah, we got a rivalry going.
How come this is the first time I'm hearing about this? This should happen all the time. Gryffindors and Slytherins fucking hate each other, and Quidditch is extremely intense. Why are we not hearing about scuffles between Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw? or Ravenclaw and Slytherin, or Hufflepuff and Gryffindor.
Because Harry doesn't give a shit about them.
That is true, and I was going to acknowledge that.
And Hufflepuff's probably just let shit go.
Harry is the epitome of
We're
like
not big grudge people.
Whatever.
what is it? If you don't observe it, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Whatever theory that is. Like, yeah, if Harry doesn't see it, it literally never happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this, to me, this should be happening all the time.
But also keep in mind that this is a probably closer or more contested cup than maybe in previous years because
That's a good
Harry,
point.
it's wild. Harry has never lost a game until this year, but they've also never won the cup because they've had issues with him dropping out and not having backups for their
Yeah,
speaker
he was
for some
either
reason.
injured or had some other shit going on.
Yeah.
Or he was either injured or the season got canceled. That's
Yeah.
what we've had so far.
Yeah, so there's never been since he's been there, a cup that's been contested
point.
that closely that we know about that Harry cared about.
Yeah, maybe there was scuffles the first year, but he was in the hospital wing after
Yeah.
everything that happened with the Philosopher's Stone. So, okay. Hey, maybe I'm wrong on that one. Maybe they're there, but yeah, we just don't hear about them. Now, very specifically, the night before, I just want to mention it real quick. It's not really an important point, but Harry has nightmares about the game. And one of the things that he has a nightmare of is that Neville replaces Harry. And just pinning that. I feel like the amount of times we get like Harry and Neville stuff,
Yeah.
find it interesting. That's all.
I also think it's really interesting because Harry is having dreams and nightmares before this big match. And there's been this whole sub theme with Trelawney about, knowing the future.
Mhm.
And now Harry has this nightmare and he's just like, how much stock am I really putting into this nightmare? Do I think this is a thing that's going to happen? Maybe not with Neville, right? Neville's not on the team, but like, is this some sort of metaphor for how poorly I'm going to do a Neville level game tomorrow, and
Yeah.
it's going to be the worst.
To that point, though, 13-year-old Aaron, when he goes to his first divination class, 100% dream journal that night. I am starting a dream. I am like, are you telling me I might be able to predict the future? I'm taking note of everything.
Oh, yeah.
Every
I'm
single
full
moment
in.
I experience deja vu, making a note. Dream journal, absolutely.
I just want to throw out just a tiny little behind the scenes thing
Yeah.
about what I get up to sometimes in my hobby
Careful.
spaces. No, I'm perfectly fine. I have OCD and I like to do tedious, light work a lot. And at one point or another, I had outfitted a regular deck of cards to read with all the tarot information that their counterparts were so that I could kind of learn to tarot read. I'm terrible at it.
Fantastic.
I know it's nowhere near the legit way that things are supposed to be done. Much respect for the people who practice that art because it is very complicated. But yeah, I low-key love this shit, and I would be as much of a skeptic as I am. I would love for it all to be real. So I would pay the fuck attention in Trelawney's class, 100%.
Yeah. At the very least, to your dream, maybe not some of the stuff that you're like, okay, that's dumb. Like if you could, my tea leaves, fucking tea leaves.
I
Okay.
do want to do that on a Patreon episode.
Yeah, that would be fun. I'm just saying, like your dreams and shit.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I have
yeah.
deja vu sometimes in my real
I have
life.
deja vu all
And
the
so-
time. Yeah.
I feel like maybe I dream stuff sometimes. I don't know where the fuck that comes from. So it would be interesting.
It's a common misconception. Actually, that's not reading the future. That's a glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah, it's a glitch in the code.
But we haven't made that podcast, so
It's where they accidentally copy and paste.
right.
Yeah, and they forget to change just enough. So yeah, I think, and Nate, this actually is a point for you because I remember on a previous episode we had a discussion about this, and I did not remember this information, but the Grimm.
Yes.
We've brought up before about why don't other people see a giant black dog in the stands of a Quidditch stadium?
Right.
It's because the Grimm is spectral. Only the person that the Grimm is for can see the Grimm. That it is a sign that you
If
are
it's the
about to
Grimm.
die.
If it's the Grim.
But that's the thing is
okay.
they have proof. The dog was in the Quidditch Stadium and no one reacted.
Yes,
So
because
only Harry is seeing the Grim.
we talked about this because when Death shows up,
Mhm.
you are the only person to see Death. But it's said that Death is in the room with everybody. Now, the thing about it is that the Grim is not necessarily Death. Other people can feel Death, according to the lore, right? The cold. Like, people are affected kind of in the way of a Dementor, right? But if this Grim is supposed to represent that, then even though it's very really there, Harry is the only person that can perceive it because it is there for Harry. And
It is
in that
his death.
way,
Yes.
everybody could just not pet a big dog. And that's the only reason, because to them,
Yes.
it wasn't there. See, okay, but this is the thing. It's not in Harry's head. This is a real, supposing it really is the Grim, right? Then it is actually present in that space where Harry sees it to be.
No, it's not. It's spectral.
But that's what I'm
It's
saying,
not
though.
physically there.
It's in the way that other people can't see it. It's not Harry's brain making it up. The Grim is there, and Harry can see it.
Yes.
But to everybody else, it's not there, although it really is there.
Yeah, it's a ghost.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
If it's the Grim, yes.
That's what I mean.
If it's
So
the Grim.
Harry is not crazy.
Well,
He should be worried if it's real.
now here's the thing. We finally get a little glimpse that maybe this is not the Grim, because as he gets up in the middle of the night from these nightmares, he sees Crookshanks and the Grim interact with each other.
Yeah.
Crookshanks should not be able to see the Grim. And this is where common problems that could be solved in the Harry Potter universe, Harry, go talk to the adults and tell them what's happening. No, Ron said seeing the Grim is not a good thing. Go tell the adults you think you're seeing the Grim.
From Ron's point of view, either Crookshanks has now seen the Grim and is going to die, so good, fuck Crookshanks. Or my other theory is that cats see shit. Like Puck sees, I don't know, we call them weebles all the time. Where all of a sudden he'll just look up in the corner of the room and you'll be like, what the fuck are you looking at? And he will chase air for 20 minutes.
I mean, it also could be solved because he didn't even tell his friends that he saw the Grim in the stands. Right?
Yeah, he never tells them. Or maybe he tells Ron.
But
Ron and Hermione were fighting, so I know he didn't tell Hermione.
just asking people that were at the Quidditch match before, like, did anybody see a dog?
Yeah. Hey, while I was flying around real fast, I thought I saw a dog in the stands, Seamus.
Yeah.
Seamus, did you happen to see a dog, or was that just maybe a weird blur thing?
Yeah.
And then he's going to go, no, I never saw a dog. And then
Or,
Harry, go
yes.
fucking talk to Trelawney.
Or yes, I saw a dog, in which case it's not the fucking Grim.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he never does any of that. But yeah, Nate, it seems like that cleared up a little bit. Like, the reason no one was seeing it before is because it wasn't really explained in the early chapters.
I just thought it was
that
interesting.
The Grim is basically a ghost.
Yes.
And it makes itself visible only to the person that is supposedly going to die.
For whom
That's-
the bell tolls.
That's, yeah, exactly.
Also a fantastic song by Metallica.
But I like what you said. That is why it was not just constantly being pet, because
pet that dog.
who does not want to pet that dog?
Because exactly,
Gotta
during that
pet that
episode, we
dog.
made very clear the
Gotta
point.
pet that
The
dog.
ultimate problem, all the bullshit going on. Nobody was petting a perfectly good dog.
I'm
Hey.
gonna go pet that dog.
Hey, you know what? Spoiler, okay? Spoilers. I'm just going to say it, though. Luna fucking Lovegood would be petting that dog. If she saw a giant shaggy dog in the stands, Luna Lovegood's walking
1000%.
over and petting that dog.
I just realized, I know I'm not supposed to make merch promises while we're on the air, but
we can edit it out.
can I pet that dog t-shirt with Cerberus, the three-headed dog?
With pad. Oh!
Fluffy?
Or
With
with
Fluffy.
Fluffy, or
That
we could
has to
even
exist.
we could even do Buckbeak. Because that would be hilarious.
Can I pet that Griff?
But yeah,
Can I pet that Griff?
I think that would be a great. I gotta
That's
get to
fantastic.
work on that. But
Look,
yeah,
I am completely distracted right now, and we have the final fucking Quidditch match of the year coming up.
hell
So
yeah!
we're gonna take a quick little break. I'm gonna do some research on what t-shirts exist already or what we need to make up, and we'll be back right after this. And we're back, and it is fucking Quidditch time, baby.
It's on.
Jade, you brought up a point earlier. They mentioned the number of students in the stands, and they say there's about 200 people cheering for Slytherin. And you did a little math here, and I think it's a great point to bring up. That means that there's about 28 students per year, 14 boys, maybe 14 girls, okay, if we split it evenly.
Oh, wow.
And that's roughly what we've kind of learned about Harry's class.
Yeah.
Like, this is about appropriate for the class. Good world building here.
Yeah.
We're keeping these numbers consistent, which is important.
Yeah, you might be a little bit plus or minus, you know, but as an average number for 28 per class per year.
Well, there's probably some Slytherins that aren't like, fucking I bleed green. Like, there's probably some Slytherins that aren't wearing green or that might not be cheering for, like, they just don't give a fuck about Quidditch.
Yeah.
So they're either not there or not cheering. But I think, this is in line with what we've learned so far.
But especially when you think about, like, classes because you split them between two classes, right?
Oh, yeah.
So having more than 28 per house per year.
Yeah.
If you have two classes in one class, that's a really fucking large class to be teaching.
That's roughly 56 students per teacher, which is not a good teacher to student ratio.
Right.
And
you want to keep that a little bit less.
Yeah, the small class size also lends to the exclusivity of a place like Hogwarts.
True.
This is not just it's common for witches and wizards.
Yeah.
But like for the whole of the UK, this is a very, very small select amount of people who get to go.
Yeah, I feel like based on this, like I feel like this is a big enough sample size. Like, here is the main school for witches and wizards. Here is the class size. You can also find what the population of the UK was, or of Europe, or no, UK. Probably just UK.
Oh, yeah. It's under 1% for sure.
We can find out exactly just how big the wizarding population, or roughly, not exactly, how big it is.
And also goes to explain how come everybody fucking knows everybody else at the school. Like, oh, you went to Hogwarts 40 years ago. Like, oh, yeah, I remember that motherfucker. Because there was only 10 of them there.
Yeah.
The hallways, mostly empty.
We've met. Okay?
That's why anybody who was there with James knew who James was.
Exactly.
Yeah. Why Harry doesn't ask more about that? Anyway, I've already talked about that. Real quick. Does Snape in green feel wrong to anyone else?
100%.
It mentioned that he is wearing green, and I don't like it.
I feel like Snape has one of those alternate art jerseys, you know, like the Lions do in February.
It's
for
all
like
black.
Breast cancer, they got the pink jerseys, right? So Snape has the one that is like all black with just a little bit of the silver on the collar and then just maybe a splash of green on the sleeve.
I think that the only reason Snape would have decked himself out in a color other than black is because he like planned for a painter to come afterwards when they won the cup. He's like, we're winning the cup. So I have to be wearing something correct for the ceremony afterwards when I hold the cup and someone takes the painting or the picture.
Yeah.
Because House
that's
Cup.
going to be hung up for the next 100 years or
He's
whatever.
the guy that technically wins the House Cup, right? Because it was his house that would be doing it.
Right.
It sounds like from previous conversation or from previous conversations from McGonagall, apparently Snape keeps that Quidditch cup in his office.
Yeah.
Because there's constantly teasing between Snape and McGonagall about the cup.
Yeah.
I do want to say real quick, though, it does say that Snape is in the front row wearing green, just like everyone else.
Aw.
So if he's got some kind of alternate jersey thing going on, apparently so do a lot of other people. I think that dude is decked out in fucking green-ass robes.
I changed my answer. I know exactly what's going on. In this one very small way, Snape wants to be a part of the group.
No, he just wants to be better than the Gryffindors.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But collectively,
yeah.
the Slytherin class wants that.
Oh, yeah, I think he's got pride in
this
Slytherin.
One way, he can actually be a part of the group.
Oh, no, I think he feels very at home with the Slytherins. Like,
yeah, but
I don't
that's
even
what
think
I mean.
it's just this one. Or are you saying just with Quidditch?
Snape is Slytherin through and through.
Yeah,
so in the one thing where all the Slytherins are like, you know what? Fuck the Gryffindors. Fuck that Harry Potter kid.
Yeah.
Snape is like, yes, these are my people.
Yeah, but I think had he not thought the Slytherin was gonna win,
Oh yeah,
he probably
All
wouldn't
black.
have. Yeah,
all black.
yeah.
Now, it gets mentioned, too, that this game is very dirty and there's a lot of penalties. And I
Which-
think this is just another example of Harry not paying attention. Although the whole point of this is that Harry's supposed to be paying very close attention to the whole game. There are only 6 penalties.
Really? That's not bad.
Unless this was only a 20-minute game. 6 penalties doesn't really feel like that much.
No, but like you mentioned in a previous episode, what makes a sport good is not the what is it? The rules. It's the amount of shit they can get away with that that should be against the rules. So what that means is only 6 official penalties.
Well, yeah, the game can be
However.
dirty without penalties.
Yeah.
But the penalties that get called don't seem like super dirty or that far out of the norm for a game. So what else are they doing that's not getting called a penalty?
Well, I think
More
that's-
elbows?
Yeah, well, yeah. I think that there's probably just more stuff happening, and I mean, those penalties, though, they are pretty dirty. Like some of those, unless they're not all called, they were like smashing people's faces and shit.
Dead play bludger attacks, like getting bludgers hit at you when there's no play happening, so you're not paying attention. Grabbing someone's head instead of a quaffle,
Yeah,
like just straight up putting someone in a headlock.
Like a tree
Running
falling
into
in
them?
the woods, if the ref doesn't see it, does it really happen? No, it doesn't.
Doesn't somebody get hit straight in the face with a bat?
Oh, yeah. I believe one of the Weasley twins throws their beater's bat at Marcus Flint.
Oh, I thought somebody actually got like fucking nailed with a bat, but maybe I'm wrong.
No,
Maybe
I think
I'm
it's thrown.
okay. That's
but
a little
still,
less intense.
This
but-
is a bat that is either solid enough or magically enchanted to be able to hit a beater and send it flying. So, like, that's a thick-ass club.
With the way that bats are
Bludger.
actually built to flex, they are brutal even if they are thrown.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
said
don't
beater,
lose
didn't I?
like the
Okay,
momentum
thank you.
that other objects do when thrown that way.
Oh, yeah.
Their cores, they're pretty fucking awesome just for being like a really thick stick. They're all. I know they're not using American baseball bats. Calm down. But yeah, they're sweet.
Yeah, Fred Weasley chucks his beater's club at the back of Flint's head, and Flint's nose smashed into the handle of his broom and began to bleed.
Maybe that's what I was thinking. I was, for some reason,
There it
imagined
is.
it. Like,
Yeah.
I must have skimmed it and
Yeah,
thought that he
yeah.
just hit him in the face with it.
I just, those don't feel like the dirtiest of things.
I mean, if there's blood, there's foul. That's the way we used to
True,
play.
no blood, no foul.
But even if there are 6,
Yeah,
I mean that's still pretty low.
I wish we had a full time frame of how long this game took. We don't.
I will say, I don't know about strongly, but I like to follow what's happening. I know Quidditch can be a confusing game, but it feels like at points of this chapter, the point of the Quidditch is to confuse you as to what's really going on
Yeah.
in the game. I don't like that. If you've made a game that has rules and we've now found has a certain level of complexity to it, don't obscure that. Like, I want to understand how complex and cool this game can fucking be. There are people running around on fields with brooms between their legs playing this game for real right now because it's cool.
Mhm.
I want to be able to understand all of that by reading this book.
Oh, well, maybe you might not be able to do that by reading this book, Nate, but we can have a conversation and I'll get you there because Quidditch is the greatest fucking sport ever invented. And I am all for it.
Let's go.
The penalties don't seem, even the ones that are called, like, I know that they don't seem as bad as they could be for this game, right?
Yeah.
But we are children
True.
playing a game.
13-year-olds
and-
flying around on brooms.
And they are,
well, 11 to
there is
17.
intentional violence
Mhm.
being done to other students. And the answer is, all right, you get to chuck a ball over there with the
you get
keeper.
a penalty shot. Yeah.
They don't even get to put their people don't even get put away. I feel like for something that intense, like you intentionally try to hurt another player.
Yeah.
This is bad.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
on multiple times you tried to do this.
Yeah.
You guys forfeited the game.
There needs to be,
That
because,
should be an ejection, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
grabbing someone's head is one penalty shot. Draco grabbing Harry's broom is also one penalty shot. Somehow those are of equal severity.
That's
And
what
no,
I'm
they're
saying.
not.
That's what I'm
they're
saying.
absolutely not. I bet though, fucking great game to watch if you're sitting in the stands.
Fuck yeah. Everybody
is-
on their feet screaming every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
This is a great game.
Yeah. This Quidditch feels close to hockey, to be honest. There's violence.
In
You
the
can kind of
roughness.
self-regulate by like, you do something that's a little bad, you're getting a fucking bludger, dude.
It's coming back for
yeah,
sure.
this shit's coming at you. God, I love Quidditch. The other thing I like about Quidditch, we hear quite a bit about McGonagall always trying to kind of police. Fuck, what's the dude's name? Lee Jordan.
Lee Jordan, yeah.
McGonagall, a few instances, has to like reel Lee Jordan back in.
Lee Jordan is fucking great because that dude is passionate about what he
Mhm.
does, and that man, he's not even a man. He's a kid.
I think
That's
he's
what's going to
15.
make him a great
Yeah.
announcer when he's older. His mouth just fucking runs. He says exactly what's on the top of his mind, exactly when he thinks it, and everything he says is also like Gryffindor positive. So even though he's the announcer for everybody, he is a fucking Gryffindor, and he is leaning that way in his announcing every single time.
What
and
I
he doesn't
want-
give a shit.
What I want to know is, it seems like he announces the games for Ravenclaw like everybody else, right? We never see it. Either he
Yeah,
doesn't
he never
attend
goes to the
those,
other Quidditch
or we
games.
don't see them.
Yeah.
I would love to see Lee Jordan doing one of those, and just how does he pick a team, or does he just look at that guy? He's fucking awesome. Look at that guy. He's fucking awesome. Or both these teams are shit compared to Alicia Jordan. You know, what does he do during those games?
Jade, my one big gripe that this book or for this book series, that as I've gotten older, it's changed it through the years. I want more Quidditch. I want more
Lee
Quidditch.
Jordan.
And I want more Lee Jordan.
And that would definitely feature Lee Jordan. If there's
And I
any
want more
sort of kind of like
course you do.
magical college that they go to after they graduate
Yeah.
Hogwarts, right? Lee Jordan is immediately going to the AV club and grabbing a microphone.
Give
Like that's the
me-
first thing that's going to happen.
Give me Lee Jordan, Oliver Wood, Ginny Weasley Quidditch spinoff. I don't want the cursed child. Give me that. That's the follow-up I want.
We don't have higher education. Do you think that this school doesn't
Yeah, I don't think
even
there's a
teach
college.
You don't get
I
math
think
or
it serves
English or any of
as
this.
the college.
That's what I'm
Like
saying.
you're 18,
You
go.
don't get any of your actual basic class, like education courses here, anyways. You think you're getting extra education afterwards? You're fucked once you're an adult. You get taught these basic things on how to do some spells. You get put out there, and then you gotta figure it the fuck out, bud.
Which is exactly the way it works in real life.
Jesus.
Well, look, this greatest game of all time does end in a Gryffindor victory.
Fuck yeah.
Harry catches the snitch when they are up by more than 50 points. Harry has won his first Quidditch Cup in his playing career because, like we said, he was out the final game his first year and the season was canceled last year. And yeah, more importantly, Oliver Wood is leaving Hogwarts as a champion.
That's right.
the only thing that matters.
Only thing that matters.
And that the dog wasn't ignored
Yes.
unjustly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's it. We end on this beautiful high note. Dumbledore is holding the cup. Harry's walking towards him. And, you know, he does a quick mention of like, I could do the fucking best Patronus right now, bro.
Yeah. You needed a fucking good memory. I have it now.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people hang on to those glory days from school until their very old age? Like that was the greatest thing that they've ever done, especially concerning sports. And like a lot of people who don't go into like the NFL, right? They never go. They ended up going into something else and
Less
becoming
than
a professional
1%.
or whatever,
Yep.
right? So it's like a lot of people have these stories where, hey, back in the day, for a moment, I was the fucking king.
So I'm saying,
Yeah.
thousands of people, maybe not thousands, 200 per class, which is, you know, that's 2 times 4, which is 800.
I mean-
so, you know, 1,000 people cheering for you at once.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you never get that again. Of course, you're going to be able to hold on to that fucking moment. Why wouldn't you?
7th grade talent show. The band that I was in did a Papa Roach song. And for one moment, I had like 1,200 people. And you know what? It was the greatest feeling ever. And we fucking won and beat out the cheerleaders who just did a lame ass dance routine. And I felt justified for beating them. And so that was a very high point for me in my music thing, right? But then, yeah, beyond that, I played legitimate shows that I got paid for. And there were like 30 people there and I made like $10 whole and it wasn't great. So it's like maybe I'm not a professional musician, but I was a fucking rock star for a day and that's going to last forever. That's my Patronus thing right there.
I am very happy that talent show did not cut your life into pieces. But
it was actually between angels and insects, but good grab. Yeah.
That is the end of this chapter.
Yeah, we got there.
How are you guys feeling? What are your final, because we know my final thoughts. Wood's a champ. I don't give a fuck about anything else. What do you get? How you feeling right now?
I feel like this chapter gets a lot of the pressures of being a teenager out of the way for Harry. I feel like there's still a lot of shit going on, obviously, with like Sirius. Now we've got a possible Voldemort situation that we got to be super concerned with. But like, he's won the Quidditch. Oliver, he's taken care of. Ron and Hermione have made up. We're making progress. We're moving forward. These are all good things.
Sounds like you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
Was there anything else for you, Jade? Any final thoughts, parting gifts for the listeners?
I think we could talk more about Quidditch at some point, but
we're going to.
That's for another day.
It feels like that's about all we have to say about it.
All right. Well, if you wanted to let us know what you thought about this chapter or this episode, you should write a scroll or a letter and send it by owl to podcastatt@gmail.com. You can also follow us on all of our social medias. If you really enjoyed this episode, you can go to patreon.com/podcastatt and pledge to a tier of your choosing. We would really appreciate that. We do live episodes. We do secret things on our Patreon that are fucking awesome, and you can only know what they are if you go there. Yeah, stuff and things and stuff. It's fucking great. Thank you all very much for listening, and we'll see you real soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.